Welcome to Sweet Tea and Therapy with A&P, the podcast where we spill all the tea, from discussing the latest trends in pop culture to delving into the depths of therapy. We're here to demystify it all. I'm Adrienne McCollum-Smith.
And I'm Pamela Tippett. Together, we're your hosts on this journey through the world of media, lifestyle, and therapy. Whether you're sipping sweet tea or seeking solace, we've got you covered. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and join us as we navigate the intersections of therapy and everyday life.
Subscribe, listen, and let's dive into the conversations that matter.
We're back. Join us for an uncommon edition of Sweet Tea and Therapy. Listen as me and Adrienne discuss the benefits of restorative retreating, #uncommon BIPOC. And listen as we discuss the real deal of entrepreneurship as women of color, the good, bad, and everything in between. Think money shame, credit scores, and dare I say, failure. You don't want to miss this. This is a must listen. And my apologies for the echoes. I was in a different location and let's just say audio fail. However, this is a must listen and very worth dealing with a little bit of echo. So without further ado, let's go.
Asking for help.
Yeah.
I think, initially, and this is where we were talking about people don't say things. They don't tell you things. You just see things and it looks like, oh, I could just do this. Oh, I could just open a private practice. Oh, I could just do a retreat.
Yeah.
Nah, nah, you can't just do anything. And I think having more of those open, transparent conversations and telling you guys, hey, I love doing this. I love making this happen. Here's where, this is what it's like. This is what it takes. And I'm not giving all dirty details like this, that, and I do feel a lot, but just really being more open about if you want to do this, because Candace wanted to do one and she was going to come. That was part of the reason why she came. And Shemaya wanted to do one. And so I was telling them, it's like, hey, I know you see this, but you can't just go do this.
Just do it. You need to know a little bit about what you're doing and the cost, because even like you say with private practice, you think one thing and you're like, oh, I'll have this money. I don't have to bust it down with nobody else. I can have all this money for myself. I'm the one doing the service. Well, you keep that energy. You know what I'm saying? Because 2 years down the line, you're going to be singing another tune.
Exactly. And I realized so much, even being in private practice. Yes, I've been doing this for 5.5 years or whatever. I think we started at the same time. But I think that's why year 5 is so crucial. I think you're really learning things, figuring things out. And I see why a lot of small businesses don't make it even more of a reason to do things like Uncommon, to tell people why these are some of the pitfalls, these are some of the things that happen, these are some of the things you need to be prepared for. Because you were saying it, it's like you go to these conferences, it's the rah-rah, but people don't tell you, it's like, hey, I have to get a SBA loan that was $100,000 and that was floating me for the year. And now that that's run out, I'm just trying to run my practice based on insurance reimbursements and a small percentage of self-pay. And that's really not, I realize I really can't run this business just saying lying. I need working capital.
Yeah.
And those are not the things that are said. And so I really, with 2 people being at the retreat saying, I want to do retreats, they're wonderful. They are transformative. And you can find community. But at the same time, it can also be frustrating and disheartening when, yes, you're getting that. But on the flip side of the coin, it's like, how do you where do you get the resources to really keep this thing going? So I wanted them to know that. And to me, the activities part, like coming up with the agenda, that is not the issue. I wanted to keep emphasizing that. I'm like, you could go online, you can do the agendas. You could find the agendas.
It's the having the money, talking to the people, getting everything coordinated, making sure everybody is going to have a bed and a room, and the accommodations are going to be something that people will be proud of, the fact that they spent $2,500 for. All of that is, I think, from what I'm hearing from you and what I've seen in the past couple of years from you doing this, is that it's all of those moving parts. And I do think it's too much for one person, or too much for even you and Michelle right now, because there's just so much that has to be done and a lot of money that has to come from somewhere. So I get that.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate your transparency with it. And I do think that that is one of the things that is really setting Uncommon BIPOC apart from probably whatever else is going on, from what I've seen and heard, is that, like we keep talking about the rah-rah without the pitfalls being mentioned, and without the struggle, and even like with Wanda talking about, now she's a successful financial coach and this and that, but there was a time when her credit was in the pits, and I've been there twice now. And people don't know it because I take pretty pictures, and I've got a decent website, and I've got an active social media account going, and they see that it's more than just me. I've got a couple of therapists, on the team, but nobody knows how many clients they're seeing or not seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There.
And again, anybody that cares a little bit can do some nice branding, or very minimal,
Right.
and and then don't let them see a BMW pull up,
That's right. That's
So
right.
it is. We need to be talking about the real deal of all of these things, and not to scare people,
Right.
not to deter people from doing the work, but to better prepare them.
There you go.
We all are improving and having solid businesses, and then we see a whole shift in the industry and in what we can do for our own communities when we have healthy, sound businesses with healthy, sound people running them.
Wow. That was profound. That really hit me when you were talking about, you got an active social media account, you're looking nice, the branding's nice. No matter what your small business is, you see a lot of this on social media, across, online, and people think, oh, I could be an entrepreneur. It doesn't, not just a therapist, but whatever thing it is. And I feel like across everything I've seen, it's like those things, even like on Pinterest, you see these things that looks like you can make, and it's like, I could do that too. People do not tell you, like, I failed at this 3 times before I got what you actually saw.
That part is that part. And also, I think it's important because it is different, I think, to hear, and maybe it's rah-rah shit, right? But to hear a Katie May at a conference talk about, oh, they stole this much, or Casey Compton, they stole this from me and this and that and da-da-da-da-da. But now I'm running a multi-million-dollar practice, and I'm getting a whole mansion built, and I'm showing it all. And, to me, okay, yeah, well, now you're here. It's hard for us to relate to that because we're still, recovering from the thievery or from whatever happened. And so I think for us at 5 years and, in this little pocket that we're in, having seen some failure, having run into some challenges, and continuing to kind of learn and pivot as we need to. People need to hear that.
Yeah, they really do. And I think even when I hear the successes, now that I've seen behind the curtain, I don't know if you've ever watched The Wizard of Oz, but the moment that they realize that the wizard doesn't really how he's making things happen, it's like, you're not really a wizard. And I feel like sometimes even when I hear people say, and I'm thinking about our friend who had the retreat overseas that you went to, I'm not going to give any more details. How are you making the raw actually happen? How much debt or loans, or help? I try to be transparent when I'm getting help, because I don't want to be clear and convey that Pam Tippett didn't make, all of this happen. And that's why I told you, share what Michelle does and all of those kind of things. But sometimes even when I see like Katie Compton, whatever her name is, I'm like, okay, I see that. But I'm going to pull the curtain back and say, like,
yeah, pull the curtain back. And also, I can't not say and point out that Casey Compton and Katie May are not women of color.
Okay, that was it right there. That was it right there.
They're not women of color. They have access and privilege to resources and networks that we do not.
Right.
And so we have to also be willing to say that, okay, cool, go to those conferences, get what you can get, because I paid Shailene and Katie to teach me what they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And there ain't no shame in that, and I may have to tweak it to work for me as a Black girl in the South, right? Trying to create something. But again, it's not fair for me or anybody in our network to look at that and compare ourselves to them.
That's right.
It's still very different.
It's not apples to apples. It's not even apples to another fruit. Sometimes it's just you cannot compare, because I get tired of people saying, build a self-pay practice. We live in Alabama. And I do feel like 100% self-pay practices are region specific. Thank you, Lenora Johnson, for being honest about that comment. Lenora Johnson she said it. She's like, 100% self-pay practices are definitely regionally specific. Not to say that maybe you couldn't, I don't know what you can do, but when you live in the deep South, having people consistently pay a self-pay rate for therapy services, I said consistently. They might do it if some shit is going on, but when that moment passes, yes.
But you to fill out paperwork for them so they can get some time off of work, or when there's something else behind it rather than I'm doing my work.
Right.
And I'm investing in myself. You're right. In order for us to do private pay and charge what we need to be charging so that we can eat, you're not going to build a sustainable practice like that.
I'm glad you said that. And and that is one of the things the rah Bill, you're not having a sustainable practice. Oh, you need to be self-pay. Do you know what happens? People do therapy, I feel, in this region if there's a need. And if the need passes.
But a white woman could do it.
You think so?
Yeah, because my the lady that does our couples counseling, she's 100% private pay, and she's a white lady.
I wonder how things are, and there's some transparency here, and I've talked about this before. Another thing that are the people who do this who are not of color, white, may be, I'm just going to say it, a lot of times they have a partner somewhere. And I think this was said at the conference at our retreat too. Lenore said it. She's like, hey, some of you, I forgot who was talking about it, but they're like, hey, you got somebody back there. Like, if it don't come through, you got somebody who can maybe not fix it all, but you're going to at least eat and have a roof over your head.
Somebody is going to bail you out.
And we don't know that a lot of us are single, and a lot of, those of us that do this who are white, not all of them, but a large portion of them have a partner that is going to help fill in the blanks. And for a lot of Black female or brown female therapists who don't have a partner, that's a situation. And I think that's something I've just, before this retreat, I do the mental health professionals here, and a Black female therapist came up to me, and a white female therapist, and said, hey, where did y'all get your health insurance from? She looked and the white therapist looked at me, and I looked at her, and the white therapist just said it. She's like, do you have a partner or something? And I was honest. I said, I'm going to be real with you. I said, I don't even know if I would be in private practice right now
if it wasn't for my husband. Period.
I had to say it. Adrienne, I couldn't do this. Like, I had a daughter who was sick all the time. I couldn't have afforded to be in private practice and not get benefits.
I know I couldn't have done it. It would have definitely looked different. I would have had to really grind and hustle, and
it would be like early part-time. I'm seeing people like 9 to 12 on Saturday morning, or like 5:30 to 7:30, on the weekday. I couldn't have done what I'm doing. And I feel like that's another transparent conversation that needs to be had for women of color. And that's like a little it's like not secret, but it's just not talked about. We know that most people in the mental health field who do this work are female, and a large portion of us are of color. And doing this privately or owning your own business, like, it just needs to be said, like, let's talk about it. Is this something that I feel like it's known, but not known at the same time?
Like you said, it's not talked about. And, that is something that I think we need to talk about and allow people to consider, And again, it's not, for me, my goal is to inspire, not deter, because it can be done. We've just got to figure out the healthiest way to do it. We got to talk about money shame. We got to talk about how money works, how business works, how that 136 that you get from Blue Cross is not all yours, boo. It's just not. And, if we can figure out how to get it right at our level, for the most part, how to sustain it. Like you talk about gainfully being employed. And once we can really crack that code, and honestly, I think we're real close. If based on the information that I have, what I'm doing, and I'll know more by the end of the year. But I feel like once we can really just kind of crack that code, we can teach this stuff and help people. And even Michelle and I have talked about it, with what she's learning on the insurance side, we can teach people how to build a sustainable practice within the BIPOC community, and while also addressing the things that help, the things that hurt, and like the real deal, like what this looks like and what you can try to avoid. Some things you may not be able to avoid. I got someone taking a hit. And do you want the practice the business enough to put all your eggs in it? Because I knew, okay, you're going to have to take a hit, a major loss to recover. There's no way around it. But what do you need a credit score for right now? You know what I'm saying?
But see that right there, What do I need a credit score? Is that, even when you say that, I have a reaction because, like, in our society, that credit score can be a barrier or an opportunity. So you have to be willing to say, I can put these opportunities on the back burner for this,
because
this.
I believe in it that much. I believe in myself that much. And if it fails, I can stomach it.
And I think that's the thing too. We don't talk about it a lot, and especially in communities of color, failure, getting in. And I think I see so many women, and women in general, specifically women of color, the failure piece, like the shame of not knowing or getting it wrong. And doing this, you have to allow yourself to get it wrong. Not needing
to get it wrong, to, again, like I say, it looks good, but y'all don't know I'm only bringing home $36,000 a year, which is what I made straight out of grad school. And I've been doing this shit for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't realize that's all that's coming into my house from me. And my husband carries everything else, including the insurance, And also, when there's a bad month, like this month of June, having him to be like, we're okay. You know what I'm saying? Just, I trust you. I believe in you. You can do this. We're not fucked up. And you'll know when we're fucked up when I say, hey, I got to travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, to just have that. And I'm telling you, we got to do it because, like I said at the retreat, we are the trailblazers, and within our community and within this industry, we're new at this, starting our own businesses and really doing it and doing it right. I'm mad at that because, and what I mean by doing it right is we're not trying to get no shortcuts. We're not trying to have somebody to just throw this together and make it look this way or that way to just generate and get money. No, we want to provide quality service. We want to be ethical. We want to have teams that we trust, the right people in the right seats. We want to know that the money that we pay ourselves is our money and not something that the government is going to come back and take back, or something that on the back end we're going to be trying to recover because we've paid ourselves too much and now the business is failing.
Oh, that part. Oh, that part right there. Oh, I love everything that you're saying. And I hope anybody who listens to this is to hear her just that. I love everything you said.
Yeah.
I just gotta take it in.
Yeah. We gotta make it. It's too much to know and learn. And there, like we talk about shame, I think that's our biggest barrier right now among us BIPOC entrepreneurs and therapists, is that needing to keep it all together and make it look a certain way so that we can be seen as credible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that mask that I feel like people of color have to walk around. And if you got this mask, you need to put this wrong. If we're doing this business, we have to look like it's always together, always right, jazz fingers, like it's always like this. And we're here talking all day, the masks are off. And since the masks are off, I'm going to go to the flip side of the coin of what you just said. I'm going to sit here and say, because we had someone at the retreat who was new and feeling like, I don't know if this is for me. Okay. And I'm going to go on record saying it might not be for everybody.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. You do not have to be in private practice if you don't want to be. And you can still be a therapist. Mm-hmm. It's not for everybody. And we have a ton of transferable skills, especially if you've made it to the graduate level. You have a ton of transferable skills. I want people to know that, yes, private practice is rewarding and I love the work that I do. But I also have another ALC who she was unable to come because she's getting ready to have a baby. But she's like, Pam, what if I just want to be able to take care of my baby and my family, and I don't want to worry about all of that. I'm like, you don't have to. And I don't want anybody listening to know that this isn't the only way. There's always more than one way to think about something or to do something. Adrienne and I are in private practice, and I'm going to be transparent, Adrienne. You don't have to co-sign on this, but I thought about it's like, is this for me? Sometimes I'm like, I don't like the business part. It might be okay. I have those thoughts sometimes when it starts weighing down on you. I can still be a therapist and not be in private practice. And I want people to know that that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've had that thought, multiple times. And, I've come to the realization or am learning to accept that there will be other times I want to quit. If I'm committed to this business and it being sustainable and long lasting, this will not be the last time I want to quit. I have to go into it knowing that. Mm-hmm. Just like, we kind of just on some other stuff have talked about other commitments of marriage and children. Those things are not always hunky-dory. But if you're committed to it, you just have to know that, like, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to be some stormy, cloudy days. It's going to be some times that you're just like, this ain't working. I want to quit, because it's not easy. And if it were, everybody would be here doing that.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I think with the advent of social media, I think entrepreneurship has looked more shiny and raw more than it ever has previously. And that's why we're on here talking about this. We're like I said, pushing that curtain back, because anything that's worth having is worth working for. And sometimes, here's the truth, people work for things and they don't work out. Or you work for things and they do work out, but they were hard fought for wins. And it's not easy. And I feel like, I'll use the Candyland game again. We just want to arrive, Adrienne. We just want to get to the candy castle. We want to stay there. We want to be there. We want to make it. But if anybody's played the game knows, you don't just get to arrive.
You don't there are no shortcuts. And that's one thing I can thank Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
All right now.
The shortcut thing, and it is a very applicable to real life and to success. Is that like you can't take the shortcuts because it's gonna come back.
And it does. And that is from, whether it's private practice, like the people were asking me about retreats. I said, it's no different than private practice. Everything you've heard there. Know what they're trying to do, know what it's going to take, realize if you need help, realize maybe it's not for now, for later. Maybe it's not for, maybe it's really not for you because the resources are not there. Maybe you're ready, you're comfortable with failure, or you're comfortable with the hard work. There's so many things. Doing anything is just like what you said. And I really want to bring that home. And we're not trying to just detour anybody from building a business, starting a private practice, whatever it is that you want to do. But what I feel lacks when you are out here in these social media streets is the part where, hey, yes, I have this. Yes, you see this. This is how it happens. That behind the scenes of how we're making it work. It's just like I said, like if you've ever seen Wizard of Oz, when they pull back the curtain, he's back there turning on those wheels and reaching around. And they're like, you don't actually have magic. He's back there and,
Yeah, you do that. I love that, because it's a wonderful analogy for what it's really like. It's super stressful. Yes, there are perks to being able to say, I'm not working this week, and not having to run that by anybody, or being able to kind of set your own hours and, really do things the way you want to do within reason and within the ethical parameters. yeah, that's all nice, but man, it takes a lot of other things going on beneath the surface or behind that curtain you speak of that people don't see and, can just be largely misled.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of not real TikTok, some of those things, and I see people talking about their businesses. Oh, yeah, I did this. I now have that, and this is the piece that's always missing.
Yeah.
Is them pulling back the curtain, and we wanted to do that today and share a little bit of our experience about entrepreneurship, especially coming off of the Uncommon BIPOC retreat that we just did, because this is what the retreat is about. This retreat is for people who are considering entrepreneurship, who are therapists or maybe any other, career that you want to break out on your own, and figuring out how to make it happen and how to take care of yourself while you're making it happen. Just really being honest with yourself about, okay, this is what it is. This is what Uncommon BIPOC is. We have honest conversations with others and ourselves about where we are, what we need, how we get what we need if we don't have it, and finding a community of people who can provide support while you figure all of this out.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just say, we work and we teach and we learn, but we have so much fun. When I say not last year or definitely this year, not one person seemed to be holding anything back. Everybody brought their authentic selves to this space. We immediately became like a family. I'm talking about as soon as somebody walks through that door, you see another beautiful brown woman walk through that door. That's your sister, sort of. That's part of your community. And it's amazing how within just a matter of hours, there is bonds and relationships being cultivated and with people across the world, really, but definitely across this country. We've got people from every corner bringing their expertise, bringing their real raw personalities, and they're so full of love. There's no gatekeeping. It's just a very, very safe space for us. And that's why I am committed to helping you whatever I can do. I am drowning in Inspire Counseling's business and in trying to, turn my ship around, so to speak. But this is so important to me because before I met you, I had no community. There are other women in my market who have been kind and helped in some ways, but it's just something so special about this group and about you and about your vision for Uncommon BIPOC. And like I said yesterday when we were just kind of wrapping things up, I need it. It's not even a want. I have to. If I'm going to stay in this business and have success and try to be healthy, I have to have community and a safe community. I just don't know how to go on without it moving forward, honestly.
To me, like even coming into it as a host, I was drained. I was very depleted, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to come together. I felt like the guy behind the curtain, like turning all the wheels and doing these things and missing a wheel over here, missing a crank over here. I felt like I was really like struggling getting into it. But if you've ever had a plant and put water on it and was almost dying and then, perks up, that's what I feel like when I come into the retreat, like a wilted plant on the verge of just like, being done. And then you put water on it and it kind of just like, that's what the retreat does. When you walk in, if you've ever been in school, which I feel like everybody probably listening to this has, and you walk in, it's lunchtime, and you're like, where am I going to sit? Who am I going to talk to? Who's going to accept me? When you come to these retreats, there's like, you don't even have to worry about that. You don't have to worry who you're going to talk to, hang out with, eat lunch with, who's going to get you, who's going to be okay with you. None of that ever happens. And like I said, I literally felt like that wilted plant coming in here, Adrienne. I was done walking into there. I was like, because I had told Michelle, I sent her to, we not. I sent her to, no.
You were dead serious. You were like, this is the last one. I'm not doing it again. And I saw it on your face. I'm like, serious. But y'all, let me tell you, and this is the power of community, and I'm not going to cry, but, seeing Pam come, I knew, because we've talked to, and we've been doing the podcast, and we were both, I know I've been hanging on by a thread, and you're moving and all those things, but it's just something so special and so powerful about seeing you come in feeling kind of defeated and not wanting to do this anymore, but you still were showing up every activity, everything, and things were happening. And just for the group to be like, no, you're not into this. You know what I'm saying? And to come and be like, no, we need this, whatever we need to do to keep this going, we're willing to do. I think that speaks volumes. And, I hope we can keep it going. I like the plan, to meet in a month and talk about it and see what we can all do together. I think it's at least worth one more shot.
We're going to see. We have a working plan now. And like I said, it's like I got that water. I came a little bit back to life, and we're going to see what happens. But I'm praying that we can keep it going in some iteration. Yeah. And in whatever form it is, that we could keep this going. And anybody who's listening, and I know sometimes people are like, well, I'm not of color or whatever it is, find community. And I think that's the thing why I made this 4 brown, yellow, red, black post, because we don't always get to walk into a space and feel, that community. But whoever you are, never stop seeking like-minded people who genuinely care and support you and will give you the real and show up for you, even when they don't feel like it. That is why I even have thought of, okay, let me try again, because it's important to me too, because even being there, hearing y'all, just seeing how everybody was enjoying it, watching people do the scavenger hunt, like, I was like, okay.
Yeah, and then it's just, it's fun. We did yoga. We had a sound bath. Someone made a life-changing decision in the middle of it, being able to, even with that, like just kind of being there and holding space for people, outside of how to run a practice, but just like I've got this really hard decision that I'm faced with just in my life, and I don't know what to do. And to have people just hold space for you and in that way, it's just, it's just unmatched, y'all.
That person and that young lady who was like, I don't know if I could do this. And everybody is like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, we were seeing those people and they allowed us to see them. And it's just a gift. And so, yes, we talk about a lot of hard things. We have experts come in and they give us information, give us access to them so that we can continue to pour into ourselves and get better over time. It is worth every penny, I think, to be here and to be in this space, but it's also a protected space, and we don't want just anybody. Yeah, you can be black, brown, pink, whatever, but you need to become and willing to be a part of what we're trying to establish and be willing to be seen and see others.
I love that. And
So special about it.
shout out to Wanda Bell. Shout out to Lillian Henderson coming in, bringing that much needed those financial nuggets. I just want to give them a shout out. So, Adrienne, thank you for holding the space for me today. As this was a nice debriefing after trying to get everybody out of there yesterday, because I don't feel like I can really leave until I know everybody is there. So it's nice to kind of come today and debrief my feelings, because I walked into it in a headspace. I did. I was, yeah. So I have hope.
Yeah, sure.
I have some hope that we will band together and figure something out, whatever that looks like, that we'll figure something out. And I appreciate you guys for holding space for me. And I feel like I always create things that I feel like I need myself. And I feel like if I need it, my thought process is that somebody else must need it too.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Sweet Tea and Therapy with A&P.
We hope you enjoy diving into the behind-the-scenes world of therapy and everything in between with us.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time for more candid conversations and a fresh brew of tea.
Until then, take care, be kind to yourselves, and keep sipping on that
Sweet tea.